Hello, my name is Tia Fraley, and I'm here with Visit Anchorage. And thank you for coming to the AAA Travel Marketplace. We really appreciate you coming to learn a little bit more about the destinations that are here, and especially about Alaska. And that's what I'm here to talk about. And the AAA agents or advisors are standing by to help book that perfect Alaska vacation for you. So what does Visit Anchorage do? It is the destination marketing organization for South Central Alaska. So I'm just here to help plan that perfect trip for you. Plus I have Tracy from the Alaska Railroad and Mandy from Salmonberry Tours, also my booth to help talk to you about how you want your Alaska vacation to look like. So real quick, who am I again? I am Tia Fraley. I'm a lifelong Alaskan. I absolutely love my backyard. I was very fortunate to be raised here and work in the tourism industry. And as you can see, I love to explore glaciers, go out snowshoeing or cross-country skiing or downhill skiing, love to fish, golf, play softball, and of course, I like to eat. So this is me eating one of those reindeer hot dogs that are very popular here in Alaska. And then I love me a craft beer. So if you're one of those, I'm going to tell you about our breweries here in Anchorage. So let's real quickly talk about the COVID mandates that we have here in Anchorage. We are very COVID conscious. We have been that way since March. We do ask that you have a PCR COVID test prior to departure, 72 hours. And as long as that's negative, come on up and enjoy this beautiful state that we have. We do ask when you're indoors or at restaurants, museums, on a tour that you do wear a mask. This is our Anchorage trolley. They operated this last summer and you can see everyone had a mask. They went at 50% capacity and made sure to sanitize in between each tour. So we'll continue to see that in 2021. A lot of our restaurants and retail really made downtown cool this summer. So they moved outdoors, put up tents, put out games. There's a big checkerboard that you can't see here, hula hoop, cornhole. Our retail's moved out too. So really taking advantage of that sunlight that we have here. And again, we'll see that this summer. And then just wash your hands. So again, take that COVID test, keep your distance, wash your hands, wear the mask, come visit this beautiful state of Alaska. So when you talk about Alaska, it's just easier to break it up into 5 different regions because we are such a big state. We're called the Great Land for a reason. So I'm going to focus on South Central Alaska and really how to make a great land package just based here in South Central. Of course, we can add those other regions, but in this 20 minutes, we're going to focus on South Central Alaska and Anchorage, the largest city that we have here in Alaska. This is almost about 40% of the population live in Anchorage. And as you can see, we like to see, you can see we're kind of urban and wild. So we have all that necessities that you want from a large city. We have beautiful hotels, an amazing dining scene, lots of entertainment from outdoor concerts to fairs and festivals. And then wild because we have all this wilderness that surrounds us. So within minutes, you can be out in nature right from Anchorage. What you can't see on the front part is we're a waterside city. So we have the Cook Inlet that goes right up to the face of downtown Anchorage. And then we're hugged by 2 arms. That is the Turnagain Arm to the south and the Knik Arm to the north. So again, just stunning scenery, breathtaking views, and lots of wildlife. It also makes it for a mild weather, but extreme fun here in Anchorage. So let's talk about those temperatures here real quick. We just finished December, which is our least amount of daylight. That's about 5.5 hours. But since then, we're into January now, so we're gaining about 5 minutes a day. So it's a lot of gain just in 1 month. But we are in our coldest month. So January is our coldest month, and our average temperatures are rated there in the 20s. But then as we're gaining the sunlight, we're getting up to June 21st, and that is going to be summer solstice. And that's when we have the most daylight here, or we call the midnight sun. So we'll have about 22 hours of daylight here. And the average temperature in June is going to be in the 60s. Our warmest month is usually July, and that's a little bit warmer, 65. But again, these are all average, and they can change by about 20 degrees. So we always say, come to Alaska, dress in layers, and be prepared to wear shorts because it will get up to 80 degrees here in Anchorage in the summertime months. So with that, let's talk about 3 like surefire ways that you can make sure you can still plan a land package here in South Central Alaska this summer. Our first idea we're going to explore is just base camp itineraries. That means you fly into Anchorage, you pick one of our various hotels, you unpack, and then you do day adventures from there. So you can see to the right, that's the map of the municipality Anchorage. The municipality Anchorage is the same size as the state of Delaware. So you can just see just being in and around the Anchorage area, easy to fill a 5 to 7 day itinerary. Or maybe you want to fly into Anchorage, stay a couple nights, and then rent a car, an RV, a camper van, and then go explore, because we do have some really cool towns in and around the South Central area and up into interior where Denali National Park is. Our highways are easy to navigate. We only actually have 2 highways out of Anchorage, but to many adventures, 6 highways total in all of Alaska. So super easy to get around on our highways here in Alaska. So, or maybe you want to do a custom built itinerary. So you want to work with a local tour operator that AAA works with and kind of custom build that perfect vacation that you want here. So easy to do with the Alaska Railroad. So we're going to fly into Anchorage. This is our Ted Stevens International Airport, which is only 6 miles away from downtown Anchorage. So once you get here, you're ready to get onto your adventures. And when you get here, we always say, what do you want to see? What do you want to do when you get to Alaska? So we hear a lot that people want to learn the history, how we were bought from Russia, where was that gold rush from, and just how can you maybe go look for that big nugget still. And that leads into the first people of Alaska, our Alaska Natives. A lot of people want to learn and meet from our Alaska Natives here. Fascinating people. About 12% of the Native population lives here in Anchorage. And then glaciers. We have over 60 glaciers that you can visit from Anchorage, and we'll show you how. And of course, adventure. With all this area and all this land, we have so many adventures awaiting for you. And an active adventure looks different for everyone, whether it is just getting outside, breathing our fresh air, maybe touching a glacier, maybe just taking a 1 mile walk on one of our beautiful paved trails. Or maybe you're more on the wild side and you want a wild adventures and climb up to that peak of that mountain that you see at the end of Eklutna Lake here. We have something for everyone's adventure heart. And then when you're out there, you're looking for wildlife. We share the land with the animals, and they are always out and about, enjoying this great state just like we are. So let's talk about some of the things you can do in and around Anchorage. So to learn the history and about our Alaska Native people, Anchorage Museum is the largest museum we have in Alaska, and they have so many different exhibits here that you could spend a whole day there. One of my favorites is the Smithsonian Arctic Study area. This has over 600 objects that date back to 1863 and how the first people of Alaska and how they lived and how they made their clothing and how they hunted and fished and made their kayaks, and truly amazing to read about how they did that here at the museum. And then I traveled to the Alaska Native Heritage Center. This is actually where you're going to meet the Alaska people. So right inside this gathering place, they're going to do their Alaska Native dancing. So these are dance fans that she's carrying, and they always tell a story. Beautiful. You can actually get on stage and dance with them. They also do some storytelling, and they do their Arctic Games. So their Arctic Games is all about agility and strength. So it's really cool to watch them do like the seal hop. And then you're going to go outside and walk along Lake Tawana here. And there's, from those 5 different regions, they have the village sites that you walk around. So you get to meet the Alaska Natives from each of those regions as you walk around this lake. I always learn something every time I'm here. Love it. And then I know you might be like me, you want to fish. Maybe you haven't fished much, but you want to try fishing and catch a salmon. We have Ship Creek, so you can get 3 of our 5 different salmon species here at Ship Creek. So whether you want to try your hand on catching a silver like this lady here, or we also get king salmon or pink salmon that run through that creek right here in downtown Anchorage. So you don't have to go far to catch that fish. And Anchorage is an award-winning trailside city. So we have about 135 multi-use trails systems and trails within the municipality of Anchorage. We have 224 parks. So we're really a great place for families to come on vacation. So again, look at this couple in their shorts hiking up one of our wilderness trails. But we also have, like I mentioned, paved trails too. So a little something for everyone. The land that Anchorage sits on is on Denina land from our Alaska Natives. So like you see this sign here, it says Ship Creek Trail right next to where we're fishing. That's the Denina name underneath it. So you can actually learn a little bit more about our Alaska Native culture just being on our trail system. And I like this top map up here. If you kind of look what I'm outlining, it looks like one of the animals that we have here in Alaska. So that's a moose head. So this is called the Moose Loop. It's 32 miles if you do it all the way around, but you can pick any part of this trail and it's very scenic and a fun little one if you follow on a tracker to trace your Moose Loop. And that's me out hiking and biking and snowshoeing on our trails. And again, like I mentioned, when you're out on our trails, you're looking for wildlife. We have about 1,500 moose that live in and around the Anchorage area. So if you see a car pulled over, this is a local tip. Usually some type of wildlife is being spotted. And because we don't have a wide range of highway systems here, like I mentioned, we only have 6 in all of Alaska. Float planes are a very popular way to get around to some of these great remote areas in Alaska. We have the busiest seaplane airport in the world here in Anchorage. This is right next to our airport. This is on Lake Hood, and they'll have over 500 takeoff and landings in one day. So a great way to either get to a glaciers, go look for wildlife, get into the mountains, or get into some of our national parks. Did you know Alaska has 8 national parks? And out of these 8 national parks, there's 5 of them that you can visit from Anchorage. So the first 2 I'm going to mention is Katmai National Park. That's in the southwest part of Alaska. It takes about 2 hours to get there by float plane from Anchorage. And that's iconic bear viewing. You can do amazing fishing and hiking in that area. Our other one is right above it. It's Lake Clark National Park. Again, looking for those bears, and that's where Lake Iliamna is too. And Lake Iliamna is the largest lake that not only do we have in Alaska, but we have in the US. Just 2 amazing national parks in Southwest Alaska. And then, of course, you've heard of Denali National Park. That's right over here. That's more getting into the interior. The only way you can visit it from the day from Anchorage is by float plane. Otherwise, I highly recommend it to drive up there and spend a couple days because you've got to go see that great one, Mount Denali. And Wrangell St. Elias is over here. This is known for the history of the copper mining, the glaciers. They have a glacier the size of Rhode Island and just 4 different mountain ranges. So just lots of towering peaks for lots of outdoor adventure. Again, you have to fly there to get there in a day from Anchorage. Otherwise, if you were to drive, there is a road that's 66 miles, that last 66 miles to get into Wrangell St. Elias is by a dirt road. So it's a little bit more adventurous to get there, but truly amazing national park. It is our largest national park in the US. It's 13.2 million acres. So it's lots to explore. And then the 5th one you can get to from Anchorage is out of Seward, which is Kenai Fjords National Park. So now you get into that marine life and glacier area. This is a lot of the cruise ships that sail through the southeast area will actually come into the port of Seward or Whittier. So that is Kenai Fjords National Park. Again, I mentioned 8, so the other 3 would be Glacier Bay over here in the southeast. And then up in the Arctic, we have 2 called Gates of the Arctic National Park and the Kobuk Valley National Park. So come explore our national parks here in Alaska. They're pretty amazing. I also have to mention golfing. I love to do this in the summertime here too. I know it doesn't look like this beautiful greens, depending on where you're coming from, especially on that East Coast side, but it's still a wilderness setting, beautiful views. But I love 2 things about golfing here in Alaska is 1, you can set a tee time as late as 10 p.m. because we have all that sunlight and all the wildlife that you see on it. So every time I'm out golfing, I've normally see a moose, a black bear, or a fox on on the golf courses here. And then after all these adventures, you want to come back to Anchorage and dine at one of our many restaurants, but you must try salmon while you're here. It is like nowhere else. It's always fresh, never frozen, but don't worry, we have something for everyone, but also all our vegetables are grown just north of Anchorage. So you have Alaskan grown vegetables and grain and beef that is served at our restaurants. And I mentioned breweries earlier. If anyone's a brew fan like I am, we have 13 breweries now in Anchorage, and they have fun names like Glacier Brew House, Midnight Sun, King Street. So maybe take a brewery tour with Big Swig Tours, and you can meet the brewers here in Alaska. And we do have a secret ingredients in all our beer here. You'll have to find that out. One of my favorite breweries is right in downtown Anchorage is 49th State, because we are the 49th State. Not only their beer's great, they have amazing seafood and a great menu, but they have these outdoor decks too that overlook the beautiful mountain ranges that surround us. And on a beautiful day, you can actually see Mount Denali from their deck. So pretty cool place in downtown Anchorage. But maybe you're not into beer. That's okay. We have two distilleries here in Anchorage, and we have some really fun Alaskan cocktails. I dare you to try a Bloody Mary made with our smoked salmon vodka. Definitely a different taste, but delicious. And then, so that's just kind of some base camp ideas and seeing how Anchorage is so cool and what you can just do in and around Anchorage. But now let's look at all these activities that you can go maybe a little further out for a day trip, or maybe on a fly drive itinerary or a customized tour and explore some of these activities. So first we're going to head south on the Seward Highway, which is one of the most scenic highways in the US, as you can see. You have the Turnagain Arm, the Chugach Range, and the Kenai Mountains, all here to explore, whether you're hiking or looking for more wildlife. We have a lot of Dall sheep in this area. And then we get to the town of Girdwood, which is about 35 minutes or about 35 miles north or south of Anchorage. And Girdwood is still part of the municipality of Anchorage. And this is Alyeska Resort, which is our year-round resort. Absolutely amazing, beautiful resort to stay in. One of the top attractions is taking actually the tram right from the hotel. Obviously in winter, it's going to be skiing. In the summertime, we're going up for the views and looking for the wildlife, looking for the glaciers. At the top of this tram, there's two restaurants up top. There's a deli and a fine dining restaurant called Seven Glaciers, because you got it. There are 7 hanging glaciers in and around this valley. And like I mentioned, the wildlife, lots of black bears in this area. And maybe you want to try your hand at gold. So that's kind of what started Girdwood is gold mining. And I can't say you're going to probably get a nugget as big enough to pay for your vacation, but you never know. And you can try it right here at Crow Creek Mine in Girdwood, and you can still have the historic buildings to explore as well. For a big wow out of Girdwood, you can actually take a helicopter tour that takes you up to Punch Bowl Glacier, which is about 3,000 feet. Land on the glacier, explore the glacier, drink the glacier water. But not only that, they have a dog sled team on this. How cool. This is one of our Iditarod mushers who's training for our one big race here. So you get to meet a musher and you get to work with their dogs and then meet the future champions of their team. So pretty cool to take a picture with one of these cute little puppies. And then if we go about 20 minutes further south, we get to Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. So guaranteed wildlife here in Alaska, 200 acres. These animals are here only because they've been injured or orphaned in the state of Alaska. So amazing pictures can be done with the bears. You can actually do an encounter with the deer or the moose and feed them a branch. Just love this facility. And if you want to kind of feel like you get off the grid, this is one way to explore those glaciers I mentioned, those 60 glaciers from Anchorage. Spencer Glacier, you can only get there by the Alaska Railroad. And then from there, you can go kayaking, you can go rafting, you can go hiking, and you're truly, kind of in the wilderness and in the valley here. So cool way to do it. But if that's a little too adventurous for you, head to Prince William Sound, which is going to be in Whittier, which is an hour and a half hours south of Anchorage. And Prince William Sound is one of the most glacier-fed sounds in the world. So it has over 10,000 glaciers. But you can actually take a cruise for 5.5 hours and you see 26 different glaciers. So again, getting right up close and intimate with those glaciers, and you can sit back and sip on a glacier margarita as you do that. And of course, you're looking for otters and sea lions and seals and whales and of course all the birds, but of course the majestic eagle flying above. And that takes you now in 2.5 hours into Kenai Fjords National Park, like I mentioned earlier, which is going to be out of Seward. So again, everything I mentioned in Prince William Sound, you can also see in Kenai Fjords National Park, which is then going to be out of Seward. Now let's head north real quick. We're going to head to Eklutna, which is about 40 minutes from Anchorage. But this lake is great for any outdoor enthusiast. I play here all the time because not only can you do ATVing, you can do mountain biking, there's so many hiking trails, you can camp here if you're doing an RV, but then the lake itself, you can kayak on, you can do stand-up paddleboarding. There's campsites at the end of the lake if you really want to be a wilderness and do like a real outdoor camping experience. Eklutna has it all. And then as we go a little bit further north, we're into the towns of Wasilla and Palmer. That is where those fresh vegetables and fruit come from. So you can do a farm tour, go meet some of our farmers. And if you happen to be here at the end of August into September, our Alaska State Fair happens in Palmer. So you can really meet the locals and have like a small town feel at our state fair. We still have glaciers going north. This is maybe you want to go hike on one. I was actually able to hike on Matanuska Glacier this summer and just really did an advanced trek and just an amazing, massive glacier that you can put on those crampons and go with a guide and explore this ancient ice. And this is that picture of Hatcher's Pass Independence Mine. So again, getting back into the history, lots of hiking trails in this area, and just beautiful views. Which leads us into the town of Talkeetna, about 2 hours north of Anchorage. Talkeetna is one of my favorite towns here. It's after that show, Northern Exposure. The mayor's a cat. But again, just a whole list of outdoor activities. But I love the view that you get from this hotel, this lodge, Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge. You sit on this deck, you see the whole Alaska range. And over there, you can see Mount Denali, Mount Four Acre, and Mount Hunter. So just glorious. And it's also where Three Rivers meets. Just a beautiful city. So whether you want arts, culture, or shopping, I should mention we have no sales tax here in Anchorage, or you want your itinerary to have wildlife, mountains, or breweries, you can see how easily that is to add all of these to it. But don't forget, we have citywide adventures for everything that might be on your Alaska checklist. But remember, we're so much fun. We are also open in the wintertime. We're open year round, actually. And Alaska is one of the best places to see the northern lights. So if you want to come and dance under these lights with me, they're amazing. All the way from the middle to end of August, all the way to April. So long season here. Here's another shot of Alyeska Resort. Again, our year-round resort for skiing. They are the first resort in the US to get over 400 inches this year. So I'm going to head there this weekend. And then that leads us up into the Fur Ronde Festival. That'll happen next month in February, starting on the 26th. We have lots of fun events, and that'll lead right into the Iditarod, which is going to be that first Saturday in March. Iditarod is our one professional sport here. We have over 50 mushers signed up for this year's race. It's the 49th running of the last great race. Next year will be in 2022 will be the 50 years of this amazing race. So come cheer on these mushers and have some fun in the wintertime here. So with that, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you learning a little bit more about South Central Alaska and Anchorage. And we are here in our virtual booth to come talk to, and then make sure to talk to that AAA travel advisor on how to make your Alaska vacation happen in 2021. If not ready yet, 2022. So we'll see you here.